Hello, and welcome back to another episode of me talking about pop culture. Today I will be breaking down two film production companies and how they have both contributed to movies surrounding 2 decades of pop culture. Let's get into Warner Brothers versus A24. Alright, let's give a little background on these companies and why I chose Warner Brothers and A24 specifically. In other words, let me help you up from this rock you've been living under. Lol, no guys, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Let's start with the Warner Brothers. Warner Bros. Entertainment Inc. is an American-founded entertainment, production, and film company created by Sam, Harry, Albert, and Jack Warner. Warner Bros. Was founded on April 4th, 1923 in Burbank, California. Since we're talking 2000 to 2020, we will be discussing Warner Bros. In this era. Some of the Warner Brothers' most notable films in this time period are the Harry Potter series, Inception, The Great Gatsby, The Conjuring, The Lego Movie, A Star is Born, It, Joker, and more. We also have A24. A24 is a private American film production and distribution company that was founded on August 20th, 2012 in New York, New York. So more recent. A24 was created by Daniel Katz, David Fenkel, and John Hodges. A collection of A24's most popular films consists of Lady Bird, Hereditary, Midsommar, Moonlight, Room, The Witch, The Lighthouse, 8th Grade, etc. But what really changed? Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, films have changed a significant amount if you really look closely, especially when A24 entered the picture in 2012. Here are a couple of key points I will mention regarding important changes in the film industry. A change in targeted audience, passion for filmmakers, and pushing boundaries. Throughout the 2000s, Warner Bros. Has produced movies based on stories and books people have already heard of, like Harry Potter, and so it's a safe route to go down. But more recently in the film industry, audiences are craving originality and specific unknown stories. A24 does an excellent job at this. A24 creates films that relate to a certain type of audience, but anyone can enjoy it, and it gives any person a chance to experience what they haven't experienced before. In recent years in the film world, companies like A24 are finding a new passion for filmmakers that wasn't noticeably present in the early 2000s. One of A24's directors, Augustine Frizzle, described A24's love for new filmmakers by saying, quote, "They definitely invest in filmmakers. There's something about them collaborating with new filmmakers that does both parties a service. For me, having A24 back me was like a stamp of approval, and that's a huge thing to give to someone just starting out. They're responsible for so many, and it wins them a certain level of credibility," end quote. With the rise of A24 and watching their movies and reading synopsises of their films, they take risks with presenting pretty absurd yet intriguing stories. A24 distributes out-of-the-ordinary films that will give people new plot lines to dive into and experience, like Midsommar, for example. A group of friends go to a Swedish flower midsummer festival that turns into a violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a crazy whack cult. Like, come on! Whereas Warner Bros. Stays within Hollywood guidelines, sticking to stories they already know work. Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, you guys. I'm just saying this is how movies are evolving right now, you know? And I love the Joker. I'm just saying. Okay, let's keep going. But why did these movies change? With Warner Bros., the company understands that already existing stories are a fair and reliable option for them to make movies, because audiences in the 2000s and today still appreciate live actions of a story they understand. But the case with A24, they ultimately break Hollywood's rules that bring a sense of astonishment, discomfort, or love in a brand new light. Pop culture is evolving to want originality, and this already gives A24 an edge, because companies like Warner Bros. Keep making sequels, live action, and already known content. Also, how did this happen? Any noticeable changes? Well, to start, we see that A24 presents films about coming-of-age stories, grief-driven concepts, horror thrillers, etc. Although Warner Bros. Goes off these concepts too, A24 has evolved into making completely new concepts. Like, have you ever seen anything like Hereditary? Come on, that stuff is crazy. Dan Kwan, co-writer and director for movie Swiss Army Man, explained how A24 tends to appreciate new unseen ideas to create content and how other movies aren't taking that extra step to be original by saying, "The internet was getting weird, things were getting weirder, but the films weren't reflecting that." Lastly, who made this change possible? A couple of people who took part in helping to evolve the film industry lies in the hands of A24's most famous directors, Ari Aster and Barry Jenkins. Ari Aster directed both Midsommar and Hereditary, and Barry Jenkins directed Oscar winner for Best Picture in 2018, Moonlight. But you might ask, Sarah, why these people? Well, let me tell you. Ari Aster is probably the most perfect example for being an original creator by releasing his famous pieces Midsommar and Hereditary, which totally shocked the cinema world. These movies alone show that completely unexpected films can grow popular and draw in big crowds. Barry Jenkins also changed the game with his release of Moonlight because of his very specific plotline surrounding a certain group of people, which goes back to a targeted audience. Both of these directors brought a new sense of creativity to the table to show how originality is starting to become the main theme in modern film. Let's wrap it all up now. I also highly recommend you watch a Warner Brothers film and an A24 movie back to back and sort of notice how Warner Bros. Takes more of a classic route, while A24 presents a more modern, new, and sometimes crazy concepts to film. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna end it off with a quote from Barry Jenkins that sort of sums up how A24 and other modern film companies are taking the spotlight in the film industry with their originality.